Sorry, this is episode 55. Yes, yes. All right. Hey, everybody, what's up? Welcome to Ask Broman. This is episode 55, and we are joined today by quite an amazing individual. This is NepentheZ.
Woo!
Hello, how are you, sir?
I'm good, Broman. How are you, dude?
I am fantastic. Now, for those of the people that don't know who you are, can you say a little bit about like what you do online in the content creation space and like how long you've been doing it and just like a general rundown of who you are and what you do?
Sure. So my name is NepentheZ. I've been doing YouTube, well, I've been content creation for YouTube since like 2010, mostly FIFA. I've dabbled in other games here and there, but FIFA's like my passion, my love. So yeah, just started from the bottom and now we're here.
Fantastic. When did you start making content? Like how long ago was starting for you?
Yeah, 2010 was probably when I started making content.
Wow.
FIFA had a World Cup. Was it? Well, yeah, it was a World Cup game. 3 World Cups ago. Wow, I'm old. Yeah, World Cup 2010 was when I started making. I was very good at that game, and so I started putting that online.
Fantastic.
And, that was
2010's a long time ago. What were you using to like capture and stuff back then?
I was using a Dazzle capture card. It was great.
A Dazzle.
Yeah,
I know the Dazzle. Oh, good Lord, man. Dazzle was some fun stuff, right? And that's the one that kind of looked like a squid with its arms chopped off, and you had to like plug like the video and then the left and right audio, and then like you have to put it into some weird port on your PC. God, good Lord,
yeah, it was tough. And then the Hopog was next with literally like 50 wires. It was impossible.
Oh, the Hopog. Hopog was tough. That's what I started with. Hopog HD PVR 2 was
the
what
blue ring. It was brilliant.
Yeah, so I used that one. I did my first stream Borderlands 2 with that. So like when you were starting out like 10 years ago, or not 10 years ago, almost though. Like I mean,
yeah,
like
nearly there.
Yeah. What was your like upload schedule? Like, were you sporadic? Were you like really fucking like focused on hitting a schedule and making sure you were always in it and on it like every single day?
Not back then. YouTube was not what it is today. Social media in general, like Twitter didn't exist when I started uploading content. Like, so when I first began, like I had a few inspirations in the FIFA community, a few guys that they're called skillers, guys that like trick shotters for COD, like skillers in FIFA, where they just score, fancy goals and such. And those guys were like my inspiration. So when I scored a couple of fancy goals and such, I was like, well, let me pop this up there. And then compilations back then were like the big thing. So I'd make a few goal compilations and stuff. And looking back now, they were woeful. Some of my worst, But the competition back then was non-existent. So my worst was almost the best at times, which was good enough.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, no real schedule. Just when I had time. Like I worked a really, really strenuous, long family business job during the time. So literally every spare minute, producing content. So it was sometimes every other day, sometimes every other week.
So like in the beginning, it was just sort of being there.
Yeah.
Right. That's really interesting. Do you think, and this is something I talk about a lot, and I'm just curious on your thoughts. Do you think that like operating like that now still works? Like going somewhere where maybe like a platform isn't fully established is like a good growth strategy or not?
No, I don't believe so.
You don't think so?
No.
So we differ a little bit there. That's interesting. What so if you were approaching somebody, if you were like giving someone advice right now who is going to get started like making content, like what would your big piece of advice be?
My biggest piece of advice would actually be to start streaming on whichever platform you feel more comfortable, YouTube or Twitch, preferably Twitch.
Gotcha.
And it's just staying consistent, being there always for your viewership, whether it's one guy or 100 guys, just constantly being there and knowing that they can rely on you to be their safety net during that day is considerably more important than the size of the platform that you're on, or what your main goal is. Because if you're not there for them, they won't be there for you, right? And then after that, I think it's important that you're just a relatable person. You don't have to be exceptional at a video game. You know, of course you have the ninjas, the myths that are taking gaming to a whole new level, but there is plenty of opportunity for people to either make it in this industry if they want to financially, or whatever their goals may be, just from a small, like, homegrown user base.
Gotcha. So if you so you would class streaming growth wise, even though you're like an expert YouTuber, you would class that above where YouTube's at right now?
Just because, like, in YouTube, algorithms are everything, and if you are not the 1% of the 1% in YouTube, you just won't get noticed.
Gotcha.
It doesn't matter how good you are, how good you think you are, who you're playing with, or anything. You just won't get noticed there. On Twitch, though, you know, it doesn't take much to get 5 viewers or 6 viewers. Just being there is probably enough for someone to just check you out. And so at that point, they get to know you as the person through streaming. Whereas on YouTube, it's an adaptation of the person you want to be. And I think that pays big dividends through Twitch, or just through streaming. Like, streaming on YouTube as well would do this similar sort of thing. So
making, like, so you think streaming makes it easier to sort of key into your authenticity as like a creator?
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic. I like that. That's interesting. So I have so many questions, like, since we haven't really had a chance to talk in depth before.
Sure.
What's the first game you ever played?
The first game I ever played for like a game that I enjoyed, I guess, was maybe like Football Manager.
Like, this is so cool. Like, it's like, how old is Football Manager? Like,
Football Manager was created in, I think, 1989.
Wow. I didn't know games like that went back that far. That's fucking cool.
Yeah, but I played a lot of games. Like, I played Civilization. It's like Civ 4 was like my go-to when I was 16. I wasted multiple hours on that game. I played a lot of like Grand Theft Auto when it came out, like the Sega Mega Drive and the Sega Master System, the Nintendo Entertainment System. Like, those were the consoles that I grew up on. So I played the Marios and Duck Hunt, and Tetris was a big one. Streets of Rage, like, those sort of games were games that I heavily invested a lot of time in as a kid. But in terms of like getting into the gaming community, the first game I played and went onto forums for and such was Football Manager. That's
cool. How active were you before you started creating, like, in the gaming space? Like, were you active on forums? Were you active on?
Oh yeah, I used to. I had an abnormal amount of posts on the Football Manager forums. Like, honestly, I look back now and think, whoa, like, I could have learned a language, a musical instrument. You know what I mean? Like,
nah, but
I
you did that
so
shit.
Much more.
No, I feel that. That's really cool. This is something. And this is why I was curious. This is something that I've noticed more and more as I meet people. And it seems to be like, no matter where they are in the gaming industry, they have this really long history of being involved in wherever gaming was at the time they entered the space, right? So for me and a lot of other like for you, and a lot of professionals, right, that I meet in this space that maybe got interested over, 6+ years ago, they spent a lot of times on forums or like moderating blogs or running a website, right? Where it was, because that's where the magic was. Like, that's all you could do. You have like your WordPress blog for Magic, and then 2 decades later you're running your own Magic or card trading company, or something like that.
Yeah.
What was your like biggest surprise coming up, like making content? Like, what was something that stands out in your memory when you were like, holy shit, like this is X and I had no idea?
Dude, like, my biggest surprise has and always will be the fact that I'm here doing this. It boggles my mind. I'm no one special. I'm not incredible at the video games. I don't find myself to be someone that people would latch onto. I could be very arrogant. I can rub people up the wrong way far too easy. So the fact that I'm here surprises me every single day.
Do you find your arrogance, or like your self-defined arrogance? I think that people react to a lot of, I get called arrogant and stuff sometimes, but it's just because I'm confident in like my belief about something, and I think that that's like an edge personally. Like, some people don't like it, But I feel like at the end of the day, if you're the person who can stand somewhere and say, this is what I believe, and this is what I think about this, particular feature in a video game, I think it goes like really, really well for you. Do you find that on YouTube that's more of a pushback point?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely, I'm one of the few in the FIFA community that actually speak their mind, and to my detriment a lot of the time. Like, I don't get invited to the EA events, sometimes because of, like, back in FIFA 12 to FIFA 15, there was coin selling, like, selling the in-game currency, which was, is against EA's terms of service, and they took a negative view on all the YouTubers that did that. But back then, that was my way of making money and making a living, because YouTube CPM was so bad. There was no revenue streams like there are today. That was just the way I did things.
Yeah.
And so EA kind of like distanced themselves from a lot of people that did that. And then in 2016, I had my legal troubles, and so I can assume that they distanced themselves from me because of that. But in spite of that, probably the way that I talk about the game offends the people that make the game a lot. Even though I love the game, right? I love it. And that's why I talk about it the way I talk about it, because I'm so passionate about it. I just want the best for it.
You want to see it succeed.
Yeah. And my vision of the best for it is not necessarily in line with EA's vision of the best of it. I completely understand that. But, it would be nice to talk to them once in a while. But yeah, I don't think they want anything to do with me.
I think that, interestingly enough, and this is just, I guess, like my take on it, I think that one of the interesting changes that has happened over the past, let's say, I don't know, it's happened really fast, like over the past 5 years. When I started streaming, everything I was doing is for charity, right? And we'll get into that later, because, Nep will be joining us at Guardian Con and taking part in the charity stream, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. But when I started streaming on Twitch, my story with the developer was I was part of Awesome Games Done Quick 2014. I had gotten Borderlands 2 into the marathon. That was like my dream, right? I like this 4-player speed run. If you've not ever seen this, if you want to watch a really old video of me with hair dressed up like Gage the Necromancer from Borderlands 2 and a Hello Kitty outfit, you should go watch the Borderlands 2 speed run from AGDQ 2014. Now that everyone's gone. But so I took this approach, right? I said, hey, we're going to be speedrunning your game in front of 60,000 people probably at this event, and I'd love to get some stuff from you, like a shirt or a signed copy of the game or whatever, because an incentive from you as a developer would be awesome at this event, and it would raise a ton of money, right? And the developer wanted nothing to do with it. They're like, no, this is horrible. Like, we don't want to do anything with you all. We don't like speedrunning. We're not even really that big fans of streaming. And it was just like a really weird interaction, because I thought this is an easy win for a developer, right? You send us a $300 piece of merchandise. Sure. We send you a way to say, look what our community did with our help. We raised this much money. Because even in that really positive light, I think game developers and PR managers and all these other people were really not sure what to do with the gaming space with all these influencers who suddenly wielded tons of advertising power for or against their product. And one of the things that I have seen over the past 5 years is that companies that would refuse to work with me before because they were uncomfortable about it have started like opening up and saying, okay, like we need to become active in this space. I really think, and I say this a lot, anyone who is passionate enough about your game, and this is like talking to you developers, anyone who's passionate enough about your game to play it every single day and still levy incredibly heavy critiques against the game is probably somebody that you should listen to. There's a big difference in my mind, and I've learned this from my interactions with trying to grow Guardian Con and King's Coast. There's a huge difference between somebody who's being a jackass and is never going to consume whatever your product is that you're putting out there, and somebody who is like voraciously consuming all of your content and still has opinions, you know?
Sure.
And that's based off what you said. That sounds to me like where you're at. And I hope that everybody changes their mind.
Yeah, I hope so too. It would be good to have my stamp on a video game. Could you imagine that? I think that that's sort of like, personally, like, I think that that's where a lot of this is heading. So I feel like streaming in particular, and then YouTube as well, like, we have incredibly intimate connections with our community, which means, like, you know, you and I have a deeper connection to many people who play the games that we've played a lot than the developer does, you know. And in a lot of ways, like, people will look to us and they'll say, I don't know how to feel about this. What do you think? And that's, on one side, that's fucking terrifying for a developer. But, like, at the same time, there's ways to take that relationship, right, and say, hey, we know people care a lot about what you think, so we want to care about what you think. Can you just come in and, like, let's talk? Yeah, and I think they do. I think a lot of the new games do that. You know, you see that with PUBG developers, you see that with the Fortnite developers. Like, they open up, they listen to their community. Yeah. And they do something that I think EA as an old business model would never do, and is they admit faults in their game. Mm-hmm. Like, if there's an issue with Fortnite, they're like, hey, there's an issue here. We're gonna work on fixing it. We apologize. Yeah. I think EA's business mind, from you know, the top guys, this is nothing to do with the devs, like the actual people that run the company. Yeah, probably CEO. Saying, no, we can't have a negative, you know, if we say we've got a problem with our game, how does that look to our shareholders? We're admitting openly to the public there's a problem. We can't do that. So instead, they'll ignore the problem, they'll fix the problem, and they'll give the community we noticed an issue with such and such that has now been resolved. And it's just, you know, that's just not good enough from some companies. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard when, for, you know, decades, you have been able to be in absolute control of the narrative for your product, and now you have all these other people that have as big, maybe even more social media presence than you do as a company, and, you know, what they say kind of goes, and that's like a really upside down. I mean, it's a complete reversal of how things have been for a long time. You had a few people who were in charge of saying what needed to be said, and everyone else, their voice could never really get so loud that it could outreach your advertising spending or whatever. But now you have to start working, you know, alongside these people. If you could give one piece of advice in this situation to a developer, because I think the big problem is everybody says, like, we want developers to listen to us more often, right? What would you imagine? This is a really great conversation, by the way. I wasn't expecting to have this. What would you imagine that relationship to look like? Like, from a functional level, like somebody comes to you. Literally just communication. Like, just open a line of communication with either the spearheads of your content creators, and that's not necessarily me. There's plenty of big FIFA guys out there, or, you know, for Destiny, for example, just talk to you, get an idea of what, you know, your community wants for their game, and then they can give feedback on that. You know, even if it's little things like, you know, thank you, we take that on board, or this is why we can't do that, or, you know, I know for EA as a publicly traded company, they can't necessarily release information in certain points until the new queue starts, because it has a massive implication on investors and shareholders. And it would just be nice to have a guy that talks to the community and says, hey, here's why we can't give you what you want to know, because that would just appease so many people. Yeah. So do you think, and now, like, I'm going to get this, God damn it, this is so great. Chat, if you're listening to this, or if anyone's listening to this right now, I want you to, like, pause the podcast, and I want you to go follow NepentheZ anywhere you can, because he's obviously a bright and passionate guy, and if you're looking for more insight like this, please go. Like, I can't enough. But so please do that and then come back. Okay, so now that you're back, appreciate that. Now that you're back. So do you feel like structurally this is something that they could achieve with, like, okay, everybody comes in, you know, these are our key opinion leaders, these are our influencers that have, like, obviously a disgusting amount of control over the narrative of our game, you know, like, does bringing them in and, like, having, like, the top 10 guys come in and, like, sign an NDA
that says like, you will never speak about what's going on inside of this room, but we are going to communicate to you what's happening. Like, is that something, would you sign that NDA?
I would, because then I could tell my audience honestly that, hey guys, they hear us. They know we're there, and there are very valid reasons as to why they can't explain to us what we want to know. Mm-hmm. And for me personally, that would just make a lot of people happy. It would also make a lot of people unhappy, for sure. But already what they're doing makes a lot of people unhappy too. So for me personally, I think like honesty and openness has always been something that I've built myself around. And again, sometimes to my detriment, and sometimes it's got me in trouble in ways that I never imagined would have happened. But like, I think that bond with your audience, whether it's a developer to his like player, whether it's a content creator to their viewer, like they have to have that bond. Otherwise, what chance have they really got in the fast-paced gaming industry and how it's changed? Like even in the last 6 months, the gaming industry has changed dramatically with Fortnite, with Drake bringing, and Ninja, it's disrespectful to not include him, but Drake and Ninja bringing together two huge social media integers. It's all changing. And I'm sure there are a lot of companies out there that are scrambling behind the scenes to get up to scratch with the big games and what they're doing right now. But if you don't know that as a content creator, like what you said with Destiny, you have one game. Why would somebody come back to FIFA if they don't know that they're trying to change and don't know that they're trying to be better? And how hard would it be for EA to just say, hey guys, we are making some huge changes planned for the future. Stick with us. We hear your cries. We're doing our best. I don't think that would be a problem personally.
And I completely agree with everything you said. And I think that there's a huge difference between a company saying, and this is, I think that this is the disconnect, because again, it's something that worked for a long time. There's a big difference between a company saying for a long time, hey, we hear you. And then like now everyone is sort of expecting that to be the messaging from the company. But the company that takes it one step beyond to go direct to consumer via like, an influencer and saying like, listen, we talked to the top 15 people in the FIFA space on YouTube and on Twitch, and we had a meeting with them, and like they're going to share your opinion. They're going to share their opinions about that meeting with you. Like I would agree with you. I feel like it goes a long way, because you would be able to, you'd come out of the meeting, you'd be able to make a video to your, 1+ million subscribers on YouTube. Haha, y'all didn't know that yet. Now I hope you're paying more attention. I hope that they could see that as like a huge win for them, because if you come back and say good things, that's awesome for them, because what's going on, and people are going to be more inclined to trust a message that's coming from a trusted source that they're connected with. And that's, I think that the key in the whole space right now, and ultimately I think this is going to be like a long-term deciding market factor in the gaming space, is the companies that learn how to open up now are going to be ahead of the game for the future, because whether you like it or not, the current state of the internet's not going to change. Like, it's, and this is something I noticed in the esports space too, is, over the past year, how many people have kind of left esports contracts to start streaming on Twitch, and then all of a sudden they're making 10 to 15 times more money than they were making when they were on that team. The whole market is kind of upside down right now. And I think that companies have to accept, in the gaming space, I think that companies have to accept that over time, the people who play their games are going to eventually end up with more influence than they have. And if you learn how to work with them now, you'll be adept at managing that relationship. So in 10 years, when your core marketing strategy is, we need this guy with 10 million subs on YouTube and 2 million followers on Twitch and 1.5 million followers on Twitter, like, he's going to play our game. We need to make sure that like we understand how to manage that relationship and message. Because if you don't start doing that now, it's a complicated problem, because the risk of it is there too, right? Like, what if you went to the meeting and it went bad?
Yeah, I mean, and that is a risk. That is a risk. Like, there's a lot of people disengaged with a lot of games right now, and they're moving over to other games. Fortnite specifically.
Fortnite was a huge. Yeah, I'm glad that you identified that. So I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it is. It's a huge grab, right? It's a free game that people who have a competitive bent can get into with a high skill ceiling. So it's absorbed a lot of people who are, like you said, like disenfranchised. But yeah, keep going.
Yeah, so Fortnite has the most insane player base right now, and I don't know how many players play it, but there's around 40 million people that play FIFA. Now, Fortnite probably has more than that. I don't know. I don't know if you know the numbers.
I have no on people who play Fortnite right now.
Yeah, I don't know if there's
it is based off of like all of like just numbers that have kind of come across my timeline on Twitter. Like, I'm not speaking with absolute authority, but like, I mean, the interest in Fortnite is nearing the peak level of interest that Minecraft ever had.
Okay.
And the interest, and the other thing about that in this situation is like peak Minecraft was kind of like right around when I started streaming. So the state of the internet has dramatically changed in those 6 years, right? Like Twitch was like a little baby company. Now they're owned by Amazon, and you have 600,000 people tuning in to see an esports star and a hip hop star play a game together.
Even on YouTube as well, there was a Spanish content creator got 100 YouTubers together in a game of Fortnite, and they peaked at 1.2 million concurrent viewers.
I heard about that.
Individual streamer.
Yeah. I mean, like, so apparently in February they had 3 million concurrent players. Like, so the numbers on the board for Fortnite is huge.
Yeah, it's massive.
And some of the best practices. And I think you and I maybe can speak to this because of the communities and the games we played for a while. Some of the things that they do different is like they're definitely very active with their community. Like a lot of feedback, right?
And a lot of
and they
updates,
update the game incredibly frequently. Yeah, they update the game like every week or every other week.
And I understand. Somebody in your chat made the observation that EA are a publisher and EA Sports are the development team. They're two entirely separate entities.
Absolutely.
And that's always overlooked by the FIFA community. People like bash on at EA as if they're the problem, or bash on at EA Sports as if they're the problem. And it's different the way it works. But in terms of Fortnite and League of Legends and PUBG, these are like just one game that constantly gets updated. But FIFA is like a yearly cycle. And that's a problem for a development team because they're allocated time and resources to make a game. And once they've made that game, they are now pushed on to the next game. And they have such a limited team and limited resources to fix the current game. Because what I would assume, coming from like running businesses myself before I got into YouTube, like if something's broken in FIFA 18, but it's not causing people to not play the game, what is the point in fixing it?
Yeah.
Right. Why
Especially when you don't have the man hours,
have
the man hours and resources necessary to like delegate that task to be resolved.
Yeah, and so a game like Fortnite, again, they can afford to put in so much time and so much energy and so many resources to update this game so continuously because they're not working on Fortnite 2.
Yeah. So that God, dude, you're fucking smart, man. I love it. No, thank you. No, you've got a really level head about a lot of this stuff, and I appreciate it, and I feel like this is going to be a really edifying conversation for anyone who listens to it. And we'll get to the questions eventually. I don't know how much time you have.
As long as you need.
As long as we need. All right, cool. Because I'd like to keep this discussion going. So my question is this. So the key differential between these two products, Fortnite and Destiny or FIFA or any other game that has like serial releases, is that Fortnite is being treated. Fortnite is a game as a service, right? That's why they can invest all these man hours, because they're planning on continuously operating and updating it. And then the other one is a game as a product, right? This is something that's going to come out once, minimal support, but then we're going to release another game the next year. Do you see or think that like the necessity of looking at whatever game you're releasing as a potential long-term service is going to be important going forward?
Generally speaking, yes. But in FIFA's case, I don't personally believe so. Like because football is the biggest sport in the world.
Yeah.
And so FIFA, they have a real stronghold on licensing. So any competitor is pretty much stifled. And EA generally as a studio have been known over the decades to just buy small development studios and quash them, right? To stifle any growth of any other company that might rival them. So they're into that whole like monopolization of the gaming industry. And with FIFA, it would be so difficult to make it a service instead of a product because it works as a product right now. Year on year, they're selling more than ever and more microtransactions than ever. And that is in no small part because of the gaming industry itself blowing up.
Yeah.
But also because the product they have, it works like that for them. So they might be one of those outliers that remains this way, and just because it works. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's fine. I was just curious because I see the companies that are looking at games as a service, and they tend to be, thriving. And then you have serial releases, and it seems like I don't know. I mean, there's complaints across the board, but it's really interesting. Like, to me, I'd be fascinated by the idea of like, they say like, all right, 2020, like you just buy FIFA. Like you buy it once and you can buy in at any point in the future. And every year we're going to do what we've been doing. We'll do graphical overhaul. We'll do roster updates, all this other stuff, and then, FIFA becomes a game that like, you need to buy like an update pack or something, to update your roster or something like that. That's something that I've always been intrigued by, that because sports is such an ongoing, in any sport, it's like an ongoing evolution of the game.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like you just buy a new season pass every year or something like that, which would allow them the agility necessary, right, to directly address issues in their community. But
correct,
like you said, if it's working right now.
And I think that's where the whole, I'm sure EA Sports, the development team, are scratching to get into that and want a subscription-based game or want to engage with their community. But their boss, EA, the developer, the publisher, are saying no, we're not going to allow that to happen. So what chance do they have? What choice do they have?
Yeah, exactly. Like at the end of the day, there's that.
Yeah.
And it's all speculative. So I have a few more, like, now that we've kind of gone down that road, I had a few more like content creation questions for you.
Sure.
Because I do YouTube, but I am not I don't have a golden play button. I don't have a million subs. You do, which is quite an accomplishment. So, congrats on that. You've got quite the stellar social media following. So what first of all, my question is like, what was it like the day that you hit like 1 million? Was that like a big milestone for you? I was talking about how moments like that feel for people.
Yeah, it was. I'll be honest, I don't remember it. I don't remember the day. I don't remember where I was or what I was doing. But just to have 1 million subscribers is it's great, but it's meaningless in the grand scheme of things, isn't it? Because
interaction is ultimately what matters, right?
Yeah, like the number of people that watch and engage with the videos or with the content is considerably more important than the number of subscribers that the channel has.
Yeah. That's I told you guys. NepentheZ is smart, but I don't know is that smart. So you have you've got that going on YouTube. What? Because we've been having some conversations around Guardian Con, and you're going to be part of the charity marathon. You're planning on coming out to the event. What I thought was really interesting when we were talking was you immediately, like, you said yes, and then we announced it, and then suddenly you're like hitting me up in emails like, all of these guys are now interested too. Showing that you have like this massive network. Like, when did you start developing those relationships with the other content creators in your space? Like, was that early on? Like, how did you go about? Yeah, how did you go about doing that? Networking is always a topic that gets brought up on the stream a lot, and I would just love to know, like, how do you make these relationships? Where did they start? How do you maintain them? Because we all are different.
Yeah, the first start came from like the YouTube messaging service. Like when I was a small content creator with like 900 subscribers, a young boy named KSI. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Oh, KSI. I know.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Could you?
Yeah.
Really? Jesus Christ, man.
He had 5,000 subscribers.
Like you're networking that. I'm shocked. Holy shit.
So he had 5,000 subscribers at the time. I had less than 1,000 subscribers, and I loved his content. So I just reached out to him in YouTube messages. I was like, "Hey man, like, you want to do something together? You want to make a video?" He said yes. And although that video actually never got made, I mean, we made content together over the years. But although that individual content, like video, never got made, that was the start of myself and him striking up some kind of relationship, friendship. At that time, it wasn't really a friendship, and then he knew a guy called Calfreezy, and Calfreezy is a big content creator, over 3 million subscribers on YouTube, like huge in like the social media scene as well. And then a guy called A9 Skills, who's now also going to be coming to GuardianCon. A9 Skills was a streamer back then. He never did YouTube. He was strictly Twitch. And A9 Skills did a 24-hour charity stream playing Pro Clubs, a game mode in FIFA where you each individually take one player and play on the same team. And in that charity stream, because of the 2 connections I'd previously made, I got an invite to this. And so there was like, 15 or 20 of the biggest FIFA content creators at the time there. And I don't know, maybe I just started talking. I really love talking. Like I got that trait from my dad. Like my dad and my granddad all run pubs for a living. So the gift of the dad, as it were, has always been in my family. So I've always just managed to just connect with people and bond with people immediately. And it's served really well through YouTube. But going forwards after that, I like to reach out to people, man. I in this industry specifically, and not that it's disingenuous either, but in this industry, who you know is so much more important than
it's key everywhere.
Anything. Yeah, it's just so important. It's so important. So every time a content creator does something that I enjoy, I try and reach out. And sometimes
just say it. Like, what do you say? You're just like, yeah, if that was fucking dope, dude.
Yeah, just literally love this. Like way before we even started talking to each other, I would watch your what's that game called? They've just releasing a new version of it now. What's the game that you started playing that I said that I started watching you from? I can't remember.
Borderlands?
No, not Division. Borderlands. It was Division. So when I started playing Division, I started watching Division content creators, and so between me and my like close knit social group, we would talk about you and watch you and learn from you, and that was where you came into my life. Like, so every single person that I've met that I engage with comes into my life from one way or another. And the FIFA community is pretty close knit in general. Like a lot of the content creators work together, they live together, they literally eat, sleep, and drink together. Like the FIFA community is quite close knit in that sense. And I just kind of got in on that. I didn't want to miss out by not being brave enough to just say, "Hey, how are you?"
Yeah, that's that is, I don't know, that's incredible. One of the big things, and I love that you reiterated the point when you opened it up with how you met KSI, which is fucking nuts, is you literally saw something they did and you just said, "Hey, I like this. I think that you did a great job here." Compliments are, and this is something that I've noticed more often. Compliments seem to be in really short supply. Like it seems to be incredibly difficult to get a compliment out of somebody's mouth, even if they love your content. Like, I mean, I'm sure you get messages like this all the time. Yo, this video is fucking fantastic, but could you maybe giggle less? Like, or could you be less loud? It's so like a genuine compliment with no back end, no critique. Like it's so rare, and it's such a powerful tool to just be a positive force in someone's life, and to just go in and say, like, I just want this person to feel good about something that they did that was good. And
I think a lot of people in social media are scared to do that because of the backlash of negativity they get from giving a positive comment. Like if somebody tweets me a positive thing, they will literally get met with a barrage of abuse. "Oh, you're sucking his dick. Oh, you love this guy too much. Oh, get a life." Like, and so it becomes a point. It's like, what? It's not worth it. It's not worth their time to actually give a positive comment.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. And that's why, like, ultimately, and I say this a lot, like, if you're a content creator, like, not caring about what other people are going to think about what you do is so key. And it even comes down to something as simple as networking and giving compliments. Because as Nep so adeptly pointed out, even giving someone a compliment is met with toxicity.
Yeah.
You know, you say, hey, good job with X. And then everyone's like, nice dick sucking. You know, it's such a weird place. And I hope sincerely that things begin to change. But even if they don't, you can't let someone else's actions prevent you from doing something as common and human as saying, good job, bud.
Yeah.
So that's incredible. I love that you don't know when you hit 1 million subscribers on YouTube. That's like, that's fucking awesome to me.
I remember when I hit 100,000 subs on YouTube though. Yeah. I was at one of the like gaming events back in maybe 2013. And I hit it whilst I was at the gaming event. So that's just a memory because of the gaming event.
Yeah, it's like tied in there with all of it. Yeah. Fuck yeah, dude. I'm trying to think if I've got anything else. If you've got somebody who wants to get started on YouTube, right? They know, they're like, streaming's not for me. Like, I don't like that. I like to make produced, edited content. What would your big piece of advice for them be right now?
Learn the system. Like, gaming the system is absolutely paramount for any content creator on YouTube. Okay. And I don't mean that in like manipulation, but making sure you understand the influence of tags, titles, thumbnails, descriptions, the time you upload, the type of content you upload. Like, multiple content creators don't know because YouTube aren't forthcoming with this information because they don't want people to manipulate their system. But watch time on a video would be prioritized over views. Like, if somebody gets clickbaited and clicks on your video and watches for 30 seconds and then leaves, you're not getting put in recommended. But if somebody, if you got 1/5 the views, but they stayed for 20 times the length, you will now probably get put into a recommended search somewhere. You'll get bumped up in the SEO to some degree.
Yeah.
And I think understanding YouTube is probably the primary resource you can know, because getting viewers on YouTube is going to be super tough, especially if you don't take the SEO parts of that seriously.
That is not what I expected you to say, but it is so absolutely key, right? Yeah, like I think that the big thing for anyone who's jumping into content creation, and you want to do that as a living, like if you're, this is not necessarily advice for somebody who's like, yeah, I need to make a YouTube channel for my concrete pouring business. Like, you know, the point for you is to get the content out there so that anyone who's interested in concrete pouring can watch some concrete pouring content, and that's you. You know, but if you're in a saturated space, like understanding every single aspect that can give you an edge is key. Like on Twitch, when do I start my stream? What game do I pick? You know, who else is on during this time? What is the schedule for people around me? Like, these are all things that I like at this point, like that's like breathing to me, right? Like I'll wake up, I'll open my Twitch app, I'll see who's streaming, what are they streaming, when did they get on? You know, I'll cross-reference that with Twitter, and then it'll help me make my choices for games for the day. But yes, like you have to go out there and make the content, but the key for growth is always like in the details. So learning about the ins and outs of the YouTube algorithms, finding what makes something trend. You'll like this. I had my first experience with actually seeing the power of a video that I put out trend in like a really fucking long time. So you know, we were doing Sea of Thieves the first day, and I assume that I was one of the first people to get a video on YouTube of us fighting the Kraken, right?
Sure.
And so this video that's based off my understanding of YouTube back when I used to do it, it's not core content. It's not what I usually publish. It's definitely not Destiny, and it's not gaming analysis, which is kind of the stuff that I built my channel on. It's just a random highlight of us fighting a Kraken. Is like one of the top 10 viewed things on my channel now because it hit, you know, all those metrics the right way.
Yeah.
And that I had never ever experienced that. You know,
and that's incredible, because what that does is it brings a new audience to your channel that will watch your regular daily content. Yeah, exactly.
So and I think that that's something where Twitch has a lot of synergy with YouTube, like mindset wise. You have to be looking for moments where they're like advertising moments for your content, right? Like, this is a moment where I'm going to get 1 million views. This is a moment on Twitch where I'm going to have 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 viewers because of how I've set up this pitch, right? But after that, and everyone wants to focus on those high moments, but after that, like, you have to do the work every day and invest in the people who stick around. Otherwise, like, what's the point? You're just going to be chasing your tail forever.
If you keep chasing the dragon, so to speak, you will ultimately fail. And it's my personal opinion that anybody that gets into this industry because they want to make a living from it primarily will fail ultimately, because you have to love the games you play, the people you play games with, your audience, and you have to love the industry. Because like, content creation is so much less about content creation than anything else. Like, you know, when you stream, when you make a video, it's nigh on the least important part of your day.
Yeah. Absolutely. Like making good quality content is something, like, if you're passionate about, like, that's going to happen. But the details of learning how to reinvest in your community, how to give back, making sure that your community feels heard, that you're there for them, that you're active everywhere, that your distribution is on point, right? Like, you put up the YouTube video, but like, now that you've got that there and you timed everything else about that right, what's the best time to post it on Twitter? What's the best time to post it on Facebook and Instagram? And, you know, if you Snapchat, you know, everywhere, right? There's so many more details. And I have noticed, you know, when I started doing this podcast about 6 months ago, the big move on this podcast for me was to start investing so hard back into my community that nobody could ever question my intent, right? Like, this guy is doing this because he gives a shit. Because I always have. And I would sit on the couch at night and I would be fucking pissed when people would, you know, hit me up on Twitter and be like, this motherfucker's just in it for the money. And so, like, I wanted to make something like that was, like, you know, a product that gave back to my community so hard, I like that those people would shut their fucking mouth. And
but I definitely think there's something like the whole stigma of money, I do believe
let's talk about that,
to be taken into consideration, right? Like, this is people's jobs, their livelihoods. A lot of people have actually left working at whatever job they were working at to make a living here. So if they see an opportunity to make an extra buck here or there, as long as it's not disingenuous, don't get on their backs for it. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
Embrace that promotion that they've got this day. Embrace that tweet that has hashtag ad at the end of it, and you know, encourage them for making a living in such a tough industry. Yeah,
I think that's a key point too, right? Like, if somebody's out there and they're making smart money moves, right? Like, one of the best things a community can do to support and like, I wish that this is one of the places where I really wish that we could talk about raw numbers on this, but, you know, like advertisers and deals and things like that. Just know that, like, the financial impact from a community responding positively to any sort of advertising or sponsored content, like, you hitting the like button on a tweet could be worth $100, $200 fucking dollars to the advertiser.
Genuinely good.
And in the and like, that's not an exaggeration on some point. So and I say this to tell you, there are a lot of people who consume content every day and they do it for free, wishing that they could support financially. And like, we'll talk about the counterbalance of this in a second, because we're just having such good conversations. Not like, if your streamer or your YouTuber is doing content like this, like, that little level of interaction could be something that, like, you know, if everyone in the community does it, like, that's your mortgage paid that month, or you know, your bills paid, or, like, you know, that's like your kids going to college money or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's just key. Like if you're out there and you're like, I wish I could support, I don't know how. This is a way for you to disproportionately impact the value of someone else's content. On the flip side, and you brought this up first, and I appreciate it, is like at the same point, like if your person that you watch every day is like saying, fuck these kind of games, I hate these kind of games are shit, and then suddenly they play that kind of a game and put it on your timeline, don't interact with that shit. You know, if it's disingenuous to who they are, then like, you know.
Okay, so I actually have something, sorry to cut you off, I actually have something
that's cool.
about that, because my Nick 2018, big Fortnite fan, he plays Fortnite all the time, and he was gassing me to play. He's like, come and play with me, come and play with me. I'm like, look, dude, I just don't enjoy it, right? I played for a couple hours with him, and I just didn't enjoy it. However, I still watch content creators when they play it, him specifically, some of the other guys. I got approached by Epic Games to make a video on Fortnite for high CPM.
Oh, this is good. This is really good perspective. I like this. Keep going.
I am denied about it. I sat there and I talked to my management team, and I said, hey, look, I don't particularly enjoy this game. This would be disingenuous of me to make a video for money regarding this game. However, we had some discussions, and it's CPM based as well, right? It's not they're paying me a fat fee. It's based on views. So I thought, you know what? Let me just give the game another try. And I actually gave Fortnite another try, and now I'm fully engaged in Fortnite, right? So then I did end up making that video, but it was incredibly hypocritical of me, in one sense, to say I don't like Fortnite, but hey, now I have a paid sponsorship opportunity, I'm going to play Fortnite. But on the one hand, going back to the game for a second time, in spite of the financial paid opportunity, actually really changed my opinion on the game.
Well, you took, even inside of that story, like you took a beat, you talked to your management, you voiced your concerns, and then you're like, okay, I'll try it again, which is completely different than just saying like, I hate this, and the next day there's content that popped out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there was a process. And this goes way back to the beginning of our conversation. It was like, that's where being open and honest is like the biggest fucking asset you could ever have. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, you've been open and honest that you didn't like a game, and then, somebody approaches you for something, you give it a second try, and you can document that process. Hey, I'm going to check out Fortnite again. Everyone seems to be enjoying it. You can even be so you can be so clear as saying like, and I might have an opportunity coming up with them, but I'm not going to play this game if I don't like it.
Well, I actually did say that. I tweeted out that I'm going to be putting my video on.
So you did everything right. Oh my God. Yeah.
Some guy literally said to me, I thought you didn't like this game. You're only playing it for money. And my response was, well, actually, yes, I'm going to try it again because I've been given an opportunity.
Yeah.
In such a competitive industry for a game that's blowing up. So I would be a fool to not take this opportunity in my best interests.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, like laying it out there like that and being honest is, on the content creator side, like that's insulation against, like accusations of being a douchebag.
But it also doesn't stop people from being douchebags.
Yeah, nothing's going to stop them. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the amount of people that cherry pick things that I've said that I've contradicted weeks, months, sometimes even years later. Sometimes I've said like, I don't like such and such player in FIFA. And then 3 months later, I'm using them. And then all of a sudden, I just get a barrage of people be like, I remember 3 months ago, at this minute, on this hour, when you said this, and now you've lied to your fans. And I'm like, come on, man, I'm allowed to change my opinion.
I'm a human being. I have evolving thoughts on stuff. I think that's a really key opinion and point for anybody who's out there. Like when you're making content, always be open to saying, but I could change my mind. And then if you change your mind, like it's an opportunity for you to rise to the occasion of being in an extreme world where everyone thinks that everything you say is like a contract written in stone. Being the person that can say sorry is big.
Like content creation, like you said earlier in your Destiny portion of the stream, those that put all their eggs in a Destiny basket are struggling right now, right? And maybe some of them are or aren't. Maybe some of them have external business practices that are generating them revenue. But generally speaking, if you don't adapt to the situations as they progress. And in this industry, because it is progressing so quickly, no one can keep up. If you don't adapt, you will just get left behind.
Exactly. And it's important, you know, and to as a content creator, you have to realize that some of the bets you place on content will pay off and some of the bets you place won't. And if you continuously operate under the assumption that your biggest bet could fail, that's gonna change the way that you make content, and it's going to make sure that you're always ready to adapt. You know, the people that were ready for the eventuality that Destiny 2 could underdeliver are doing okay. The people that didn't consider that to ever be a possibility have had a hard time sort of coming out from under that. And they're still doing fine, because if you're a quality content creator, you're going to be okay if you've built a base, no matter kind of how bad things fail. As long as you don't give up, you're gonna get there. But always assuming that, you know, that failure is an option and part of the equation, a possibility, will go a long way in your ability to make content.
I don't know about you, bro, man, but the way my life's gone, I don't assume that failure will be an option. I am certain that I will fail. I literally wake up every day, dude. Like, how am I still, like, this is it, you know, when like my dad always told me, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Well, this life I live is too good to be true. So it can't continue, because it's so unexpected from me and what I set my goals to achieve as a young boy and what I wanted to do with my life growing up. Like I feel like so inherently lucky to just be here that I feel like I'm going to wake up one day and it would have all just been a dream, you know?
Yeah. That's killer perspective, right? I like that idea a lot. Yeah, man. And it's probably part of the reasons why you're still around, because you were always ready for it to go away.
Maybe so.
I don't know. Like I have moments where I'm just like, what happens if, you know, my channel explodes, and what do I do next? And I think that having like a healthy dose of realization that any individual project you're working on can fail out huge, but still having the self-confidence to say, like, no matter what the fuck happens, like, I'm gonna figure out a way to come out of it on the other side, instead of just assuming that if, you know, project 1 fails, you're fucking dead and you're out of it and it's never coming back, you know? It's like that healthy balance. You made me realize that I think about things the same way that you do, at least as far as like, this is a dream and I could wake up and it could be gone the next day. You know, that's definitely a feeling I get upon many an occasion.
Yeah, especially like you know, the sums of revenue I earn right now have exceeded anything I ever imagined in my life, and I've set my life up like, you know, I don't mean to brag, it's just the facts. I have 3 houses, I have a couple of nice cars, I've got 2 kids, but I've got mortgages on those houses, right? Yeah. And I sit there and think, well, what happens if the sums of revenue I earn now, what happens if Adpocalypse 4.0 comes to YouTube? And all of a sudden,
right. Like,
my revenue goes. Because now I can't sustain my life. Like, that fear motivates me to grind so much harder than I think I ever would have done before.
Man, motherfucker. I was thinking about, Jesus Christ, this is so good. So, like, first of all, thank you for being honest about that. I think that, like, so you have a contingency plan, like, shit goes down and, like, bye-bye house 1 and 2. Maybe even bye-bye this current house, and, like, I might have to be in an apartment. Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that you're ready for that, which is key, chat, is huge. But, like, I was thinking about that today. Like, you know, there's a lot of cultural talk about, like, make sure you don't overextend yourself and all this other stuff, and I'm all about that. But at the same time, you know, when you start, like, for me, the moment when I realized, like, oh shit, like, when I bought my home, the pressure of knowing that mortgage is going to be there for, you know, 30 years is something that drives me to work harder. You know, being successful doesn't have to make you soft. Being successful doesn't have to make you, you know, weak. You don't have to sit back and couch on your laurels. I think as long as you're not out there buying dumb shit, you know, if you, you know, If you're not out there,
I'm sitting here in tracksuit bottoms that I've had for the last 5 years, man.
Yeah, like, exactly. That's what I was gonna say. Like, I have a nice house, but I should have bought new shoes because my current shoes hurt my feet. But I've had these shoes for a year and a half, you know. So being prepared to downsize and go back to zero is like really, really key. But at the same time, having things that you like to keep you motivated, like I want to keep these because I like that I have them. It's also a cool motivator at the end of the day.
For me, I think I've invested a lot in my content. Like, you know, my setup is pretty geared. I've got all the consoles that I need. You know, I would love to get some help with sound from you because your voice is
anytime, man. Yeah.
And mine is quite airy, you know, and I know that's a lot to do with the environment that I'm in rather than the mic quality itself. But I invest a lot there. But other than that, it's like, I don't know if you have kids.
Not yet.
Okay, so I just had my, as you know,
you had your second kid.
Just born.
Congratulations.
I've got a 3-year-old daughter, and I again, it comes down to fear, but the fear of failing her as a father just makes me sacrifice wearing Gucci shoes and a nice suit because I'd rather pay off my mortgage 20 years early so that she never ever has to worry about money going forward in her life.
Yeah. And at the same time, like, and being in a position where that's an option, right? Like, I get a sense that you probably came from not a lot.
Yeah, that's right.
I did too. Well, at least like I had a pretty mediocre middle of my life. And then when I went out on my own, I refused my parents' help. Even when I was like, you know, selling blood plasma so I could buy food. Right. So, and they were like, just let us pay your rent for a month. And I was like, no, I'm going to do it. You know, like, you know, I was that guy because I needed that. You know, being afraid of losing, you know, or letting people down that, you know, in your family, or for me, like a big thing is I don't want to live a life where I have regrets. Like I didn't want, I've said yes to a lot of crazy ass shit. Like I lived in Puerto Rico for a little while because I was like, oh, that looks like an interesting job. I'd feel like shit if I said no 5 years from now. So I'll say yes to this. You know, making sure you're saying yes and you're taking chances is just, it's key, man. It's so key.
Yeah, it's important.
So this has been a phenomenal conversation. But I would love to get some folks in and ask some questions. If you're listening now, we do this live on Twitch. We use Discord. You can go to discord.gg/broman and you know, sign up there. When we're doing these lives, you hang out in a chat room named High Quality Hugs. And I will pick you and we get on, we'll get you in here and we'll answer your questions. So, we're going to grab this guy. He was the first in today. This is Dirty Viking.
Yo. Oh shit.
Oh shit. Yo, what's up, man?
Hold on, bro, man.
Okay. All right. That's
cool. Mute your stream here.
Okay. I got
you. Whew.
Whew. You're here, dude.
We're in here. We're here. I have notes.
Oh, I love it, man. All right.
First time, long time, firstborn, private school that I got to go to for free because my dad taught there. You know, the strict agnostic Nintendo household, all shit.
Okay. Agnostic Nintendo household. I love it. All right.
Yep. Yeah, so we just went on an emotional experience together. You don't know, but I listened to all 50 plus episodes of Ask Broman while working over the last month. So
awesome. Thank you.
It was awesome. Yeah, I guess my first question is I suck at Twitter.
Okay. So
never really used it a whole lot. You know, was against it to begin with, and Vine happened. It was like, oh, I really hate it now. But do you have any tips for just like trying to have a little more Twitter in your life?
Sure. I'll tell you my strategy and we'll see what Neps is. But for me, like, I was really afraid of Twitter for a long time, and I kind of treated it like a billboard system. Like, you know, people were scrolling through, and then like it would just like my tweets. If you go back, like a lot of my tweets were like, "I'm live, I'm live, I'm live, I'm live," and that was it.
Yep.
Like it was like if you were going down my feed, you're like driving down a highway, and you're like, "This motherfucker is just never."
It's a bot, you know.
Yeah, it's the same shit. So So what I like to do, and I think the way, you know, Twitter is right now, is it's designed for you to be able to jump in on conversations. So like posting your thoughts on, you know, like whatever game release came out, or like whatever's happening in the world, which of course you can do at your own risk. You know, I think that that's a great way to start generating content for Twitter. Also, things that tend to outperform on Twitter are, you know, any sort of content rich like video or images. Like if you have a dope ass infographic and you throw that on Twitter, it's going to really get a lot of traction because that's the sort of information people are looking for. Videos do pretty good on Twitter as well. So that's how I use Twitter. Nep, what are your suggestions?
So does Dirty Viking want to grow an audience on Twitter, or are you looking to just engage in Twitter?
Just, you know, engage, network. Like I've just never really used it before, you know, professionally or personally at all. So
following people that you already like. So for example, Broman, following him and then jumping in on his conversations will be a good starting point to find more people that you would then bond with, like, because I'm sure there are people in his like threads on Twitter that you agree with or even disagree with that you would then start engaging with, and that would be a good way to go about things. I personally use Twitter to argue a lot. Actually, I argue a lot.
It is
Twitter,
the place.
But I'll be honest. If I wasn't a content creator, if I didn't have an audience, I probably wouldn't use Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because it just doesn't interest me in the slightest.
Yeah. So there's a little perspective about, you know, if you're, you know, making content rich stuff's a great way to build an audience, but definitely using it to jump in. Like Twitter gives everyone permission to have a conversation with everyone else in the world, right?
Yeah.
Like Matt Damon could tweet something and you could go, "Yo, what's up, Matt Damon? How the fuck are you?" And then he could read that. You know, I'm always shocked because on Twitter, you know, I'm verified. So there's a tab for verified. It's like notifications, mentions, verified. And I'm always shocked at what happens. Like, who is actually paying attention to their feed would surprise you. Like Kevin was having a Twitter argument with somebody in the Guardian Con account, and I was tagged in it, and they referenced Mark Hamill, you know, Luke fucking Skywalker. And then, you know, 3 hours later, there's on my verified tab, there's like 3 likes from Mark Hamill. Like he's that. So crazy. 2 random people arguing on the internet got Luke Skywalker's, you know, Mark Hamill's attention enough for a moment that he read what they said and liked it. You know, that sort of dynamic is fucking bonkers, right?
Yeah.
So definitely look at Twitter as permission to talk to whomever you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess next is so I've been streaming like a month, and you know, through my progression of listening to Ask Broman, you're like, okay, well, if you're starting out from zero, don't start on Twitch, not the best place. So we did Facebook, and then I know you're gonna say, you know, just stream both places, but then, you know, I think it was like in the high 40s. You told somebody, well, if it's just your hobby, then stay on Twitch.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, and this is my advice evolving over time, right? As I kind of get more context from people. But what you're referencing is, like if your goal is to monetize your hobby, there's no better place than Twitch, because there's easy access to monetization with the affiliate program. Being partnered and going full time based off of Twitch is much more difficult now than it was 5 years ago. Whereas it might be a lot easier for you to, you know, if like it took me, you know, 1.5 years of networking, and then I started streaming, and then I went full time, you know. So if you're looking at the same timeline, you know, a year and a half from now, broadcasting on Mixer or Facebook might get you to a place where you have a whole hell of a lot more than I did after my year and a half on Twitch. So it's really about aligning your behavior with your goal set. And I'll tell you hands down, like Facebook's the biggest social network in the world. Building a community on Facebook is not a bad fucking idea, period.
Yeah.
Like, period. Here's a long play situation, right? So you stream on Facebook, it doesn't really go as well as you like. They botch all their monetization tools. They fuck up, you know, Facebook gaming. Now you're left with a Facebook page that has 200,000 followers and you can't monetize it. Like, but these are all people who were attached to you at some point, right? Now you flip it and you're like, okay, I'm going to monetize this. You find something you're passionate about, make a product, and you use that Facebook page as a base to launch your product.
To advertise the link to my Twitch.
Yeah, well, advertise the link to your Twitch or whatever, you know, like it's never a bad idea, especially starting from zero, to just build as much community everywhere as you can. So even if it fails, it's not a failure. Those are my thoughts.
Yeah.
I agree with that. For me personally, I don't use Facebook. I just hate the platform just in general. So I don't use Facebook, but definitely I think you touched on it earlier, Broman. Like my social media presence generally is quite large everywhere. Like I have a huge Instagram following, a huge Twitter following, a huge Twitch, and a huge YouTube. And that comes from being engaged with all 4 platforms at the same time. So if YouTube is broken and sub boxes aren't working, it doesn't really affect me as much as it might affect somebody who doesn't engage in other platforms, because people can see my Twitter that I've tweeted that I've got a video, or they're watching me on Twitch and they'll be like, hey, why didn't you upload today? And I'm like, I did, YouTube's just broken. Like, you know, so yeah, definitely like spreading yourself out between all the platforms is good, but having like your main one spot is also super important for growth.
Yeah,
for sure. Okay, well that's all I really have for today. If anything else, hit up those DMs. So.
Yeah, absolutely, man. He can hit up my DMs on Instagram anytime. You really don't have a Facebook page, like, at all?
I mean, like, I have a personal Facebook page that I haven't logged into for some years. Gotcha. I did have an NepentheZ business page, but during my legal troubles a couple of years ago, the government shut that down. So
yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Well, if it's possible, you should try and get one back online, because I feel like.
So tell me the hype of Facebook, because I genuinely don't use Facebook. Here's
what I like about Facebook. Okay. And with someone for your social reach already, like the first play that I see in my mind for you is if you get people, make sure you guys go follow Dirty Viking at twitch.tv/DirtyViking D1RTY Viking. There you go. Apologies on that. So like the first play for you is like you tweet out, hey, everybody follow me on Facebook, and you get your like 100,000 whatever followers there, because like that's kind of your drill down, right? Your 10% engagement rate that's just going to follow you anywhere.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, now whenever you launch a YouTube video, you can post it there. It'll hit all their feeds, and then you can spend, $5, $10 to boost that post to people that are in your feed. So if adpocalypse happens again, or if the algorithm changes, right? You have a delivery method that's outside of the ecosystem of YouTube that makes you less vulnerable, because you have control.
Do you guys boost yourself?
Yeah, I absolutely do.
Money to promote yourself?
I boost. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I will tell you, there's a fun little stat. During the Destiny 2 launch, every video that I put on YouTube, I spent around $5 advertising it to just target it on people that were fans of Destiny. Every single YouTube video I did that on, I made multiple times more money than I put into the Facebook ad. And this, I had 3,000. I only had 3,000 followers on Facebook when I was doing that.
Oh wow, that's incredible.
So,
do you think that's the engagement that you want, though? Do you think you want people that are?
Yeah, I mean, like I think all advertising is good, right? So,
sure.
It was introducing my content to people who hadn't seen it before. Like obviously, like that was cool because I got a monetary ROI on that. But I also have people who are in my channel every day that have subbed to me that found me because of a Facebook ad.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it also, like, it's just more opportunity to create an incredibly deep relationship with people. I think it's weird to me, like, as content creators, everyone gets really weird around advertising their own content, but every single one of us is our own business, and there's no business on the world that on the planet that's like, what we shouldn't do, advertise. That's horrible,
Yeah, that makes sense. And so my train of thought's gone. Never mind.
That's cool. Bottom line is, I think you should absolutely set up a Facebook page, even if
That's what I was going to ask. So do you do everything yourself, or do you have a team?
Oh, do I have a social media manager? The only employee that I have is an editor. Hi, Tullis. And he repackages the content from Twitch, or if I make one-off YouTube content so that it fits on YouTube, and he takes my highlights and makes them sort of more Instagram centric. So,
okay.
But that's kind of all he does. I've been looking into doing like a little bit more social media management, just so that I don't, specifically for the podcast, because there sometimes there's weeks where I forget, like, fuck, I didn't put that on SoundCloud, and then I go back and I hit everyone's SoundCloud feed with like 10 uploads, and that's unprofessional. But I like, at the end, like I want to be the person who pushes the button to make it go live. And that's a personal preference, you know. I know there's a lot of.
I don't really have a team of people. Like I have a graphics guy that does work for me. I have a few I guess intermittent employees that will just do menial things for me that I genuinely just don't have time to do. But I do everything myself, and my worry would be like adding Facebook into my already strenuous schedule might just be that one thing too much, you know. Absolutely.
I think that like ultimately, like there's a lot of automation tools out there, and it takes, it'll take like 10-15 hours over the course, even if it takes you like a month to like learn how to do it, and then it can be another button click in your day, you know. There's obviously, and this is a great conversation to have, and I'm glad we're having it on like a high level, because I think it's going to benefit a lot of people, and I promise we're going to get back to your questions. But like there are definitely places where you're going to be able to engage with people better. Like I'm better on Twitch than I am on YouTube, and I know that because I am a good live performer. So while I am not the best, it's not the best delivery for me, like on some other platforms, I still participate them, but I like to participate in them to the level of my strength. For some things, that's just hitting the please also share this on button when I'm posting. For other things, it's like organic posting that I'm going to sit down and I'm going to do time to put it out there. So it's also operating on your level of tolerance.
Yeah, sure. That makes perfect sense.
All right. All right, let's get Mr. Stokey G here.
Yo.
Oh my God, I'm going to get starstruck now.
Oh, no, it's all good, dude.
No, it's fine. Sorry, I was just in a deep discussion in that group.
Oh,
then. That
sorry,
was cool.
that always happens.
Man, don't worry about it. Do not worry about it. I just wanted to come on to say, first of all, I love the podcast series. The last 2 weeks, I've done nothing but listen to that, and that has made me switch over to Mixer from Twitch, because I'm planning to make this a full-time thing. So
I hope that goes really well for you, man. You got honestly, some cool stuff coming down the pipe.
It was some awesome advice, because I've been streaming on Twitch for quite some time now, and I'm not seeing much benefit out of it, and I'm sort of stuck with those pool of streamers who are constantly sending retweets out to each other and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where we are with it.
Cool.
So yeah, my big question really is, with Mixer being a brand new platform, I've been seeing this Restream app. I think it's Restream.io.
Restream.io.
Yeah, I've seen that come up. Would you recommend actually going and using that to maybe restream onto Facebook, YouTube, and also Twitch as well?
So it's based off of the feedback I've gotten from people who use it. It's on a corporate level, it's really fantastic. Like you can take your Twitch stream and put it everywhere else, so you get maximum market penetration on your live content to everywhere it can be. For individuals, it can be a little bit disjointed. Like they do have a chat unification feature where you on your end can see everyone in every chat. My current feeling on it is it's better to go all in on one location. Because when you start to sort of split your focus, it's difficult. Especially with live content, and that's what sort of makes live content different, is that you can't repackage it. It's only happening in one moment. People only can kind of really consume it inside of that moment in the live context. So, I would recommend, just kind of like saying like, this is where I want to be, and I'm going to place my bet here. Restream it can be useful. I think that it's a more useful tool for learning where you feel like you fit in. Like putting your content in front of everybody and then seeing which community sort of responds the best. But ultimately, if things have been going good for you on Mixer, like doubling down there is the smartest idea in my mind.
Yeah, that's sort of how I felt about it at the moment. But I said I saw some people start mentioning it. I was like, okay, what's this all about? So I did a little bit of research, but I was keen to get some sort of feedback on how people are finding that before I even dove into it myself.
Yeah, I don't think people are getting the results they want from it. And until and I don't personally have a solution, so like until I see a really solid execution, like a good growth strategy, or I think of one, it's kind of hard.
does it restream it live as well? So you're essentially live on 2 platforms.
Yeah, so you'd be live.
And so one of the biggest problems that comes with that is that you are literally diversifying your own audience. And so in like the way Twitch works, for example, the more viewers you have, the higher up you are on the list. Like if you click on in real life right now and you have, Broman has 600-700 viewers right now. If he is also streaming on YouTube and also on Facebook, there might only be 300 people in this Twitch stream, which would limit his opportunity of being seen by a new viewer because he's diversified himself. So it would be beneficial anyway just to stay on one platform at one time, just because it can help you grow from there.
Yeah. So that based on the podcast I've been listening to, Mixer seemed like a logical step. But the bit I was most impressed about with Mixer was the hype zone feature they put in for the sort of Fortnite and PUBG battle royale games. I thought that is absolutely genius because it's actually given people at least 300, 400 eyeballs on their stream if they get into a top 10 position.
Yeah, so that's
fantastic.
There, one of the big really unique things that's sort of happening in the streaming space is like when Twitch was created, like it was originally a live streaming site called Justin, and Justin.tv. So it's got a lot of really old architecture, and it's definitely got the first mover market advantage. Like that's one of the reasons why it's the biggest, and now everyone's kind of trying to play catch up. But the thing is that when you're not the first mover in a space, you can innovate around and create features that are more beneficial to the people who use your product, because the other person in getting there first might have inefficient systems. So one of the big key advantages that Mixer has and that Facebook has as soon as Facebook sort of finishes their 1.0 development on their app is that they're going to be able to do things with their platforms that Twitch just can't. Or it'll take Twitch a really long time. We've been asking Twitch for, consecutive sub counts on Twitch for a long time, or cumulative sub counts instead of consecutive. So people can take breaks, and then come back and sub again, and they get to keep, their numerical count up. There are features like that'll be easier to develop on another platform because it's newer. I also really like Mixer because it's Microsoft. They can vertically integrate your stream into every single platform. Like if Microsoft wants to make a really aggressive move and be like, guess what? Every time I scroll over to the corner of my computer and I click this little Windows icon, it says, it's got life at a glance and play and explore. Like they could throw your stream right there on the millions, if not billions, of people who are using Windows 10. So there's a lot of unexplored features that can happen with them. So yeah, I think that focusing on them and as they develop a more feature set, I think they're going to be a legitimate competitor, and I'm excited to see where that pushes the space.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's the case as well, because I think Twitch could definitely use with the competition to also push that platform further as well.
Competition is great for everybody.
Yeah. It works out best for everyone. But the bit that I guess Mixer's the only drawback I see so far is that because it's branded as a Microsoft product because they bought it, that comes with its own drawbacks. People going, oh, you can only stream Xbox on there. Because when I first mentioned it to sort of the community I've been a part of for a while, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go convert over to Mixer now. You guys can find me here, etc. And they go, oh, you can only stream your Xbox there, right? And I was like, no, you just set up OBS like you would Twitch, anything else. It's exactly the same.
You can stream on, and this I'll be happy to say this all the time. You can stream on Mixer using whatever platform you want. Microsoft did not become Microsoft by being really I don't know what the right word is, protective of their brand. If they want Mixer to succeed, they need to put Mixer everywhere that Twitch is and beyond. So that means like Mixer's probably going to need an app on your PlayStation. Mixer's probably going to need an app on your phone. Like it's going to need representation on every single platform where people play games because it is a game streaming site.
Yeah, that's so far.
Did I say Apple instead of Microsoft? Oh, no. Okay, no, someone was just making a comment. Yeah, Microsoft is they want to win the market, and they're going to go where the market is.
That's the only drawback I've seen of it so far. Obviously, it's lacking in a few features, but I'm sure that's all to come. Yeah, because it's still a young platform, so I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm kind of happy I made the jump over to it while it's still in its infancy.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm hoping to make it over there, really.
Yeah, I think that's good, man. Nep, do you have any advice for this fine gentleman as he heads off?
just keep going, dude. If you're genuinely passionate about it, like be prepared. Like Broman mentioned earlier, a year and a half for him before he really started making his big break. Is that fair to say, Broman?
It was a year and a half before I made enough money to pay my own rent, which was $600 a month.
And for me personally, like revenue was like, there was no advertising when I first started. My first 2 years were just because I loved it. And yeah, so now, be prepared for a year or two potentially of fighting against the grain, building your audience and being there for them. And in that time, just make sure you're consistent and give it your best shot. And I'm sure, what I will take from this straight away is that you're very well spoken, you're very clear, you're concise, you know what you want, and that already goes a long way in this industry.
Oh man, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh, the fucking top level feedback from Nep, man. I agree with everything he just said about you. Unlike our last guy, do you want to let people know where they can find you on Mixer?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm under the Mr. Stokey G tag on Twitter, Mixer, Instagrams to come, because I want to try and integrate that into how I sort of push videos out, where people can find me,
absolutely,
etc.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where you guys can find me.
All right, awesome, dude. You have a great day.
Yeah, so appreciate that, Broman, and thank you again, Nep, as well, for that awesome feedback. Love it. See you guys.
Bye, dude. Oh, that was, man. This is good. This is a good one, man. This is gonna be like an all-time.
It'll be better. Don't worry.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Shocked.
Oh, hey, sorry, Turtle Son for fun. Were you also in the conversation?
Yeah, we were having conversations. I was just asking Mr. Soki G about that.
Oh my God. Yeah, dude. Well, now you're here. Ha ha ha. What are you?
Yo.
What can we do for you, man?
So I just started streaming on Mixer. I've played around with Twitch a little bit, so I got the idea of like dual monitor, getting used to viewing chat, whatnot.
Yeah, developing that skill set.
Yep, heard about Mixer actually through your podcast.
Cool.
And so my question is more along kind of the back end of the streaming, like where I've been prowling through Reddit and looking for like artists to help with any kind of profile or artwork for like scenes, because I'm not artistically talented in any real way, shape, or form.
Gotcha.
Is there any thing that you would really recommend in that aspect? Or
if I may, Broman, off the bat, you should download Streamlabs OBS. They have predetermined, customized scenes and such. Some of them animated, some of them not, and it will completely transform you from a "I look like I did this myself" streamer to "Wow, this is professional."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about Streamlabs OBS.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that they actually integrated with OBS now.
It's a beta version, so there are some errors, but for what you seem like you want, that will be ideal.
Yeah, I think that's really good. There's a couple other services that are being like developed right now. I had a chance to speak recently with some of the folks that are at Bebo, which is like it's like an OBS like style platform, like a competitor. And if you're using a one PC setup, like they do a lot of the encoding and stuff for your stream, like in a cloud-based format. So, if you're ever running into like issues, where you're having like high encoding overload, or if you're doing like a high motion game, but you can't run, your CPU on slow levels of encoding. So you're having like issues. That's something else to look into as well. But yeah, Streamlabs OBS with the automatic setup of the scenes is huge. I haven't moved over to Streamlabs, but that's because like they don't have a one button import click thing, which they need to.
What's that for?
Well, like, so I spend like hundreds of hours like investing in the way that my stream looks and set up,
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So if there's not an
just
easy
transition
way,
it all over.
Yeah. If there's not like a transition, yeah.
Also, so it would be interesting, like the guy that does my graphics for me to this day was essentially like a competition. Like I tweeted out all the way back in 2015 for people to give me concept art for new cards in FIFA. And his stuff was so good that I ended up employing him.
Nice.
So when you're streaming, it's, say to your viewers, like if you guys are graphically inclined and want your content featured on the stream, show me what you got. And then you can build from that. You might find someone that just really fits with you and what you want and what you're looking for. And then they can help work with your stream and create you exactly what you're looking for instead of a predefined section from a website somewhere.
Okay. then I guess I also had one other kind of question that's even more back-end stuff.
Love it.
There's lots of legalities with music and or any other use during streams.
Yeah.
So I know you'd have to, like, if they're on Twitch, they have their library of songs that they already have permissions from artists that you can use on streams, royalty free and everything like that.
Yeah.
I don't believe Mixer has anything like that I am aware of.
Yeah.
But what are the steps that you need to take to prevent yourself from getting in trouble for copyright or anything like that?
So I've said for a long time that Twitch is like the Wild West, and one of the last industries that's going to start engaging on Twitch is the music industry. After some stuff that happened this last week in the chatter I've seen on Twitter around some of the music labels that I follow, I think that legal action is going to be coming to Twitch pretty soon with music. So the best thing you can do if you're a Twitch streamer, like Professorbroman, that maybe used a lot of video, like I love listening to music with my viewers, right?
Right.
You know, first go back, I'm going to go back at some point, heads up chat, and delete like basically all my VODs that have music in them at all. But if you're looking for a copyright free library, right, there are companies that provide either license level access. So like Monster Cat, you can go to Monster Cat, you can sign up for their creator program, and you can pay, last time I checked, it was like $9.99 a month, and you have access to their full library, and you have a content license from them that says you can use their content. Okay. There are other, and then you have awesome spaces that exist online that have already completely decentralized music. You know, SoundCloud's fantastic. There's a lot of copyright free radio stations and stuff on YouTube that you can find. And as also mentioned in chat, you can use anything from a company called 99 Lives. You can also download a program called Pretzel, which is going to only be copyright free music for everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. I use Spotify for copyright free music. They have like playlists there.
They do? Yeah, they do. They do.
They also take like current relevant pop songs and such and have, you know, remade versions. So you still feel like you get that top level media engagement from music, but it's like a cover song of it instead, and it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So there's a lot of avenues. It's sort of about you know, doing your Google Kung Fu and finding the right location, you know, the right solution for what you're looking for.
Okay. And then one more technical deal.
I love it, man. I love these in-depth questions. You fucking hit it, dude.
So audio is a huge thing for streamers.
Yes, it is.
Both with microphone, game volume, balances of everything like that. I know you have mentioned virtual cables before for people that
VAC, virtual audio cables.
What would you actually recommend to pre-screen your audio before you go live? One of the people in the chat that we got pulled from was actually recommending to just record some audio through OBS and then just preview that way.
I would do that, absolutely. Okay. That also, because when you're doing that, you're also running the encoding load on your PC too. Audio is so weird. So many things can affect it. Like I'll just do this for you. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but hang on. No, it didn't make it through the noise gate. But like if I take my microphone and I put it too close to my keyboard, a really high ringing sound happens. Okay. You know, so the best thing that you can do is you can I'm just thinking about how ridiculous that's going to sound on the podcast later. Yeah, hear this. Dead silence. You know, but if you you know, record it live and you listen to it, you're going to be able to catch stuff that comes through. Like I had a microphone that I used for a while as part of a sponsored deal that had a really hard time, like something about the microphone, like I would hear something on my end when I was recording, but when it made it through like whatever all switch of servers, it would come out the other end and it would sound completely different. So like for me, I had to set up a test channel and listen to myself live on this test channel to figure out how to troubleshoot it. So, but that was a really long step that I had to engage in. So yeah, like recording yourself using virtual audio cables, making sure you're using some sort of audio treatment software. If you're using a software mic, you know, like Voicemeeter Banana. If you're using OBS, they have like a VTS Reaper plugin set that you can download and things like that. And, you know, just record it until you like the way that you sound. And if you have the option, listen to yourself using multiple output devices, like listen on your computer speakers, listen with in-ear headphones, and listen with over-ear headphones, and you'll have everybody covered, basically.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I've been pulling up on laptop and then cell phone to see what I sounded like, but I was just like, that just feels ghetto. Like, there has to be a better way. So, yeah, no, that's pretty much the only questions I was really thinking of.
Yeah, that's the way it is, man. That's what I recommend. Do you want to let everybody know where they can find you, man, on the internet?
Sure. Right now, the two places I'm stream on Mixer at mixer.com/turtlesunsofun. And then also I'm on Twitter. That's going to be my main presence for social media right now. Same place, twitter.com/turtlesunsofun.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much. You have a good one, dude.
Yep, thank you.
Get out there and crush it. All right, you got time for one more?
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
All right, let's do one more. You're after, yeah. So to go back onto the test channel, like I used it to test the audio, but I also used it to test my internet problems. So I would just stream to this fake channel that people found at night, and it was just like chill, relaxing, sleepy time music for like 10 hours. So I would wake up every morning and I'd like change my stream key. I'd turn it off, and then like 5 people in chat would be like, "Those listening to that." It was fucking awesome.
You know what's crazy for me personally, like in terms of like professional quality of recording and audio and such, I am very bad. Like, you know, honestly, like I have what your generic run-of-the-mill person would have. I have the Logitech cam. I got the same mic that everyone has, and I don't have a soundboard or a sound card. I don't have special features, and it's something that you get caught up so much in your own grind. It's like one day I really want to like sort this out, but you just never get to it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean that, like, it's you have to take a moment and be like, okay, well now I have to learn about all this stuff. I could send you everything that I use and how it's set up. You know, I'll take a picture for you and give you an Amazon list.
Dude, I saw Darkness. I saw Tim's setup.
Tim's.
Dude, honestly, that guy, his setup is, I've never seen anything like it. Obviously, I've never seen your setup. I just see you.
Oh no, it's not like no. Mine's literally held together with duct tape. I'm not lying.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, Tim's setup is absolutely unreal.
Yeah. Is incredible, man. Yeah, so I can send you like everything that I use if you're looking to invest in it, and everything that I use is relatively simple. It's all very plug and play.
Sure.
And
amazing.
Yeah, it's a nice. You have to fiddle with levels a little bit, but I mean, like that's an eventuality no matter what we do.
Sure.
All right, so let's grab our last guy. Let's get Mr. Impact. What's up, Mr. Impact?
Yo.
Hello?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you. You're a little robot-y. Yeah, I can. What's up, man?
Oh, I'm robot-y.
No, you're good now. You're good now. You're good now.
Oh, I'm good? Okay.
I'm good enough.
I'm
yeah.
at work right now. On a construction site. So.
Yeah. Maybe go somewhere where there's a little bit better connection would be dope.
All right, 1 second.
Oh, that's perfect. Wherever you are right there.
I'm on a Bluetooth, so give me 1 second.
Hot, dude.
All right, how about now?
Bluetooth still exists.
Sounds
great.
You sound really
Better?
good, dude.
Okay, sorry. All right. So I just had a quick question. I've been streaming for like, I don't know, 4 months or so.
Okay.
And I had different like ideas, like instead of just playing video games, going into the creative side, and because I like making stuff out of like wood. Like I made a couple of desks for like my buddy and myself for gaming, and like I don't know how that would go over. I haven't researched it too much, like on Twitch, but I don't know if that's like something that's represented on like Mixer, if that's even a thing.
So you're talking about woodworking?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna ask you a couple more questions. You got some like kick-ass bandsaws and shit involved in this?
Yeah, I got everything. Yeah.
Okay, so like I feel like this would do well on Twitch because
you think so?
because I mean Twitch has a good creative community, but this isn't here yet, and also like the constant imperiled nature of the fact that if you pay too much attention to chat, you can chop off a finger is just a really good. It's a really good content driver. Like you could get an emote that's like you slicing your thumb off that like everyone's hoping to use one day.
Oh my god!
And the craziest thing is that you'd probably end up. I don't know what you do for a living, but obviously you're passionate about this. You'd probably end up generating a business from that as well for custom desks
in
for
a
people
big
that
way.
watch you from a gaming
community. Very true.
I'm literally sitting here now. I just have a standard desk, and I'm sitting here thinking like we should talk. Like if you're able to create a custom desk. I would love a custom desk, like if your product's good, and that's why I think your stream would work because you would get content creators engaged with you, which would get an audience engaged with you out just because of that.
Yeah,
because it's a very unique product. Yeah,
you're in a very advantageous position. If you start streaming this on Twitch, and then let's say you make me a desk, and then you make Nep a desk, then you make Kevin a desk. You know, like, and the thing is, you can make money while you're doing the thing that's making money for you, right?
Yeah, exactly,
like,
exactly.
You know, you're if it takes a week for you to build a desk, right, and you make enough money to pay your rent off one desk, and then but now you're making 4 a week because everyone knows who you are. Suddenly, you're the Kevin actually needs a desk. He just putting that in chat. And he'd love to see it made. And that's the other thing is like people get to watch their shit made live, like. I can't tell you how many times like I've seen something like this happen and then the content creator's like, yo, dude, like I'm done today, but I'm going to watch so-and-so finish making my alerts. I'm going to watch so-and-so finish designing this emote. Yeah. And they'll be able to go, hey, I'm going to be done now. We're going to go watch Mr. Impact make my fucking desk.
That just sounds awesome.
Yeah, it does, right? Like, I think you have a really, it's fun to watch people create. And I think that, I mean, just from like my grandfather loved, like he was a master woodworker. He was great at carpentry. And like there's just so much satisfaction watching someone put together a good piece of furniture. Like you're just you're like, oh yeah, just glue that, clamp that. That's just like, yeah. So I'll be mad if you don't do it.
Yeah.
I've been planning it for a while and I'm really wanting to get into it. My stepdad has a lot of experience in it and I have a little bit. So I'm really wanting to get into it. I'm also going to stream video games as well because I love playing video games.
No, forget the video games.
Yeah, man, this is your moneymaker, dude. I mean, yeah, like if obviously you could use the channel as dual purpose, but I think if like always, like going all in specializing, if you're really good at woodworking, like you're going to get more growth out of a 2 to 4 hour woodworking stream than like an 8-hour gaming stream, most likely.
Okay.
And the fact that if you could do seamless transition between like, all right, well, you know, I'm done working on this shit and now we're going to play Fortnite, like whatever, like there's obviously ways that you could season your audience to getting used to consuming both types of content from you, but leveraging on your biggest strength, any motherfucker in this chat room, myself included, right now, can stream a video game. You know what I fucking can't do? I can't make a desk. Okay. You know, that's the key point.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate it.
Oh,
awesome. I'm glad I got on here.
Please tell me.
Reach out when you go live.
Yeah. Tell all of us when you start making the desk, man. I'm really excited about your project, and I'll be incredibly disappointed. Let everybody know where they can find you to watch the desk building streams when they start. And look at how many people want your business right now in the chat room.
My God.
I'm just telling you.
I wish I could see. I'm on my phone at work.
Okay, it's fine. K-Magic 101, Nerd Anita would like a desk. Nep would like a desk. I would absolutely like a desk.
This is insane.
You know, people are going to be hitting you up, so make sure you get your social pitch right now.
Yeah. Okay. I'm at twitch.tv/Mr. Impact with 2 T's. And then I'm on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, all with the same name. Mr. Impact with 2 T's.
Mr. Impact with 2 T's, everybody. Go follow him.
Mr.
I feel like this could be the start of something.
Yeah.
And then
oh my God, it's amazing.
No, it's not. It's sorry. And for anyone who's listening, it's not Mr. Impact like MR. It's Mr. fully spelled out. MISTERIMPACTT.
Yes.
Yeah. Go follow him. Hit him up. Guess what, dude? You just probably changed your whole life as long as you aren't bullshitting us and you can make good desks.
I am not. No, I promise.
I fucking promise. Oh, that's what I like to hear.
I promise.
All right, dude. I'm so excited for you. Let us know when your first stream is happening, and I'm sure Nep and I will hit you up at some point in the future to make desks. Yeah. You have a good one, dude.
All right. You too.
All right. Okay, so that's gonna almost 2 hours of Ask Broman. So first of all, Nep, thank you so much for being so incredibly generous with your time
No problem.
with me today. I know based off of what I've learned about you today, you're an incredibly fucking busy dude and you're working really hard, and I appreciate that. If you could leave everyone with a thought today, like what's one thing you'd like people to get out of like what we talked about today?
Just do you, man. Like don't chase other people's dreams. Just do you.
Fuck yeah. Don't chase other people's dreams. Do you? I love it. So yeah. So I've been Professor Broman. NepentheZ, do you want to let everybody know where they can find you? Not that I imagine many people already know who you are.
Yeah, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, it's all NepentheZ.
It's all NepentheZ, that's right. So go join his 1 million+ YouTube channel or 800-something thousand plus Twitter account. He's awesome, guys. If you don't know Nep, he has shown himself to be an absolutely incredible person on camera and behind the scenes.
You didn't even talk about Guardian Con.
Let's wrap it up. I usually plug Guardian Con at the end.
Okay.
So for all of you that know, I'm the charity director of Guardian Con. So we're going to talk about that for a quick second, then we'll wrap it up. So the point of Guardian Con going forward, and we focused on it last year, hitting it heavy this year, 2019. This is probably going to be our banner statement. Is Guardian Con is for creators and by creators to emphasize and show what we do in the world for good. So Nep, let everybody know what's going on with Guardian Con and what's going on with you.
Well, so obviously we connected. I'm going to come to Guardian Con. I'm hopefully going to be bringing a tribe of FIFA content creators out there with me as well. And yeah, we'll get in there. We'll play some games for the kids, and hopefully raise an obscene sum of money.
Yeah, where the plan, the working plan right now, and Nep and I are working on this together. Is once I get a confirmed list of everyone who's coming, we are going to build what I hope is every FIFA fan's dream bracket, and we are going to make it happen on stage with donation incentives and everything. So if you are a fan of FIFA, if you like FIFA YouTube content or FIFA streamers, Guardian Con completely unintentionally has become an event where we are going to have an incredibly high density of FIFA creators. They're going to be there, and like we were talking about earlier, this is not an event like PAX where the point is to go and play games. This is for creators and by creators. These are people who are coming to the event, yes, to raise money for kids, but also to meet their fans, because we've designed an environment where everyone feels comfortable walking the floor and standing in one place and having a meetup line just form wherever the fuck it happens. So if you like FIFA, Guardian Con, and you live in the US or anywhere, Guardian Con is your absolute shit. And you should come. And we'll make sure we're gonna get some more creative stuff mocked up. I'm gonna spring on Nep right now that I'd love for him when we do our next announcement video for the FIFA stuff. I want him to do the voiceover because I think that would be killer.
That'd be amazing, yeah.
Yeah. So Nep's going to be there. A lot of other FIFA creators are going to be there. All of the announcement for those are forthcoming. If you want to keep up on who's coming from the FIFA scene, the GuardianCon.co website has a list of creators that we've confirmed so far. I'll be reaching out and confirming more people as it comes along. But yeah, that's what we're doing. And if this is your first time listening, this is probably the best episode I'm going to do all year. So, so I hope you liked it. If you could leave, a comment about what you thought, you can interact with me about this or NepentheZ about this episode in particular. Anywhere online, I'm Professorbroman anywhere. He is NepentheZ anywhere. And we will talk to you next time. Peace.